If there's one thing I learned from Tokyo Ghoul, is that when a cute purple haired girl asks me to go on a date in a coffee shop, I should always say no.
Hold it! Which team are you with?
Team on Teku.
Why didn't you just live for me? You had a choice! Why did you choose me?
Even if it meant forsaking your aunt?
You have to take me here now!
Even if it meant hurting her?
If they had to be done!
Even if it meant killing her?
Whatever it takes!
Tokyo Ghoul is by all definitions a certified hurt classic. I was still a noob in my anime career when I picked up this show, and after watching Attack on Titan and then going straight into Tokyo Ghoul, I was convinced that anime was no longer something just for kids, because my underdeveloped cranium was truly scarred by the disgusting, flabbergasting, stomach-churning amounts of violence in this show. And then they tried to mask it with this sensational opening talking about some shigeteo, as if Kaneki wasn't getting viciously tortured in the previous episode. I'm like, bro, what you on? So seeing as it's currently snowing in the UK, I thought what better time than to cover this classic right now. So let's cut the yapping and get straight into the meat and potatoes. The episode starts off, and at first it honestly seems like your average everyday slice of life. Hide is making fun of our main character Kaneki for taking a girl on a date to the bookstore, and Kaneki tells him that there's this other girl he has a crush on. Hide thinks it's Touka, and let me tell you something about Touka. The neurons in 15-year-old me's brain, for whatever reason, were activated. I blame Cartoon Network for the 2000s goth baddie epidemic. The actual girl he was talking about walks in, and her name is Rize. Now, as a professional bag fumbler, my aura scouter would have gone off straight away, because she is dressed like a Hello Kitty girl. Hide leaves to let Kaneki take the ISO, and let's just say my boy secured the package. Fast forward and they are chopping it up on a date. Chemistry is looking sensational and Kaneki likes what he's seeing. She asks him to walk her home, and they get to this which path would you take type crossroad. Me personally, I would have told Shio from Akame Ga Kill that I gotta catch a train and she's gonna have to walk herself home, because what business do I got going down this ominous alleyway? This whole thing looks like a setup. Kaneki got zero survival instincts, and he's already on cloud 9 thinking about messaging the GC talking about some I just took this 10 out of 10 Hello Kitty girl on a dinner date, but whole time he didn't realize that he was the dinner. She opens her mouth like the car titan and takes a big bite out of his shoulder like a vampire, and then starts moaning like a Kagaguri character. She pops her car grenade and sends him flying through some crates before literally ripping bro apart. Like damn, she's using them tentacles like carnage. This really went from 0 to 100 in 3 minutes. Right when she's about to finish him off, a bunch of pipes end up dropping on her, seemingly killing both of them, or so we thought, because Show Tucker over here has decided to do an unauthorized organ transplant between Rize and Kaneki to save his life. And I don't know how to feel about this. The American healthcare system would have really pulled some nonsense like this and then charge you like $260,000 for it. Allow me to update you on the law. In this world, there are creatures called ghouls. Now these ghouls are basically exactly the same as humans, other than the fact that they got super speed, super strength, super regeneration, and they can manifest these tentacle-like things called Kagune. And I won't lie, I mess with the concept. The only side effect is that they can no longer consume human food, and their only source of nutrition to stay alive is basically like human meat. And to be honest with you, I'd be mad too, because imagine one day you wake up and someone tells you no more pizza, no more chicken wings, no more lasagna, no more cheeseburgers. From now on, all you can eat is deep fried knuckles and barbecue grilled ankles. I'd be sick. So it turns out, due to the organ transplant, Kaneki has now been turned into a half ghoul, and Rize is practically sealed inside him like Naruto and Kurama. Kaneki is slowly starting to go insane because of the hunger, and he says he can smell some good eats just for it to be another ghoul munching on a human. And honestly, this guy seems pretty chill. He even offered him a piece of human meat like it was a chicken nugget just for him to get one tap by this guy. Nishiki chokeslams Kaneki and starts talking, saying that this is his territory and no one can feed on it. These ghouls are starting to sound gang affiliated. Touka pulls up, and this is where we find out that she's a ghoul too, so Nishiki and Touka get ready to squabble just for Nishiki to get speed blitzed and sent packing with his tail between his legs. Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though. Touka forces Kaneki to eat some meat, and Kaneki insists on not eating it and holding on to his human side, which is fair enough, I guess.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
Kaneki starts violating the ghouls, saying how they are the spawn of Shaitan, just for Touka to put bro into a brawlhalla combo, followed by a command grab straight into the Iron Fist special. This is the type of nonsense I be going through on the back lines when my team is crying for heals on Marvel Rivals. After getting the silly smacked out of him, he asks Touka to help him, and that's when Gramps pulls up to take him in. He gives him some coffee because it's supposed to help him with the hunger, and there bro goes again crying. At first I was like, fair enough, but come on bro, pack it in. You're out here moving like Izuku Midoriya. Fast forward and Kaneki is trying to reintegrate back into society, so he meets up with his homie Hide, who takes him to meet one of his new friends, and turns out the bum that lost the 1v1 against a goth girl is the friend in question. After realizing Kaneki is the same girl from the other day, he takes them into yet another alleyway before absolutely eliminating Hide, and then chokeslamming Kaneki yet again. And I'm not gonna lie bro, people really be fake demons. How is bro doing all this talking after we just saw him get sunned like 1 episode ago? He lets go of Kaneki before hitting him with the Kakashi special, turning him into a Fire Fist Ace. Nishiki goes to eat Hide, but Kaneki tries to defend him before getting Shido's spin kicked away. This man is really moving like Sanji, like hands on the hip, just kicking him around like a true egoist. Kaneki is out cold when he gets a flashback, finally awakening his Kagune. He swings at Nishiki before dodging the kick, closing the distance, and turning this man into a piece of abstract art. It's barely been an hour, and this man Nishiki is already 0-2. Whose mans is this? Go home! Rize spawns in and starts talking to Kaneki like the Green Goblin Mask talks to Norman Osborn. She's telling him to eat Hide to recover his strength, and just as he's about to give in to his primal desires, Touka steps in and basically off-screens him because the next scene is just Kaneki waking up on the couch. The old man gives Kaneki the option to come work at his coffee shop called Untaku so that they can take care of him. Untaku is basically like a safe haven for ghouls in the 20th ward, and Grams runs the place by keeping the 20th ward in check. So now we spin over to the human side, and turns out there's basically like a special government organization called the CZG Doves who actively fight the ghouls and try to protect the humans. This causes some type of One Piece Marines and Pirates type dynamics where it can be difficult to distinguish who's actually right or wrong, and this white Uncle Ruckus is one of their strongest members. Grams thinks Kaneki should have a mask because ghouls use masks when they go out to eat to prevent their faces from being seen, so Touka takes him to the zesty guy who's rocking the Gwen haircut. But that's when the actual zest demon pulls up to the cafe. This man is dressed like the pimp from Boondocks and is radiating so much zestiness. Just imagine Hisoka, Shido, Bun Clay, Drake, and Lil Nas X all fused together to make this character. He straight away starts touching up Kaneki before leaving the shop, and Touka tells Kaneki that he should be careful around him because he's one of the 20th ward's parasites. So what do you think this smooth brain Neanderthal Kaneki does when he basically gets asked by this guy to meet up? Despite the zestiness and despite Touka's warnings, Kaneki still decides to meet up with him, and whilst they are chopping it up in yet another coffee shop by the way, Kaneki cracks the glass, causing him to bleed. So this Hisoka regen takes the cloth with Kaneki's blood on it to the bathroom and begins sniffing it so much he basically has an orgasm, eyes rolling back and everything. Just for the scene to pan over to Kaneki in this guy's house taking a shower. Kaneki is an actual dodo because there's no way he has even an ounce of survival instincts. The first time is fair enough, that snowbunny mind control is some high level juju, but at this point I'm convinced you are putting yourself in these situations for the love of the game.
You're a victim.
Here we go.
Turns out Hisoka over here runs some type of underground come down with me where he brings people to be eaten for entertainment purposes, and this dumbass Kaneki is his next victim. They call up Shmo from Dark Souls like it's some type of boss battle, and he starts walking towards Kaneki before swinging and missing, and now that I got a better look at him, I'm convinced that's Queen from One Piece behind the mask. You're not slick bro. Kaneki is trying to dodge him before hitting him with the Sonic Sway, so he tries to hit him with a side air, but this man has been on that Mike Tyson neck training. Kaneki gets sent flying and gets hit with the Great Ape Vegeta command grab, but at the very last second he turns into his ghoul mode, breaks free, and Superman gut punches Fat Gum. That's when everyone realizes he's a one-eyed ghoul, including Hisoka, so he ends up saving him because he wants to save a Kaneki all for himself. And I'm not gonna lie, another fatherless child, because if he had a papa, he could have at least been told about stranger danger or something. He makes it back to his place but ends up seeing Nishiki getting jumped by blue-collar construction workers. The first season isn't even over, and this man Nishiki has taken nothing but L's like Yamcha. Kaneki decides to save him and weaves the 2 hits before cracking him with the Ryan Garcia left hook. Kaneki saves Nishiki, but not even 2 hours later, Nishiki's girlfriend gets kidnapped by Hisoka in an attempt to get at Kaneki, and as it's looking right now, I might have to put Nishiki in the Hall of Bums. Kaneki and Nishiki team up to go and save his girl, so they pull up to this church, but they didn't realize they walked right into a boss battle because Hisoka starts talking crazy, saying that he's going to eat Kaneki. To each their own I guess. He flash steps in thinking he's Aizen versus Ichigo, so Nishiki tries to sneak him, gets command grabbed and smacked with a devious up special. Kaneki tries to hit him, but he's hitting nothing but air before getting full countered with an overhand right, and just as it seems he was about to put Kaneki in 7 positions for 70 minutes, Touka saved the day again. They get to boxing, and this P. Diddy affiliate literally self-reports.
Remember when you were 14 and I was 18? I will never forget their beauty.
Here we go again with the nonsense. He is never beating the Hisoka allegations. You know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Even Kaneki wasn't trying to hear these EDP antics and hits him with a 360 spin kick before they start jumping him like it's JJK. But he catches both the hands before drop kicking Touka and breaking Kaneki's arm. And to make it worse, he hits him with the Rengoku before getting aroused by the taste of his blood. You're weird, buddy. Touka goes for another sneak attack, but Hisoka pulls out his Kagune and makes her into a donut too. We get a Nishiki backstory and turns out he had it pretty rough too. He ended up losing his sister, but after falling in love with his girlfriend and after getting dropped off by Kaneki, he went home and his girl found out that he was actually a ghoul, but still decided to stay with him. This is a W relationship. Travis Hunter should take notes. He goes in to protect her, but he just gets violently bodied over and over again. But you know, this just goes to show that despite your past, despite where you came from, and despite how you grew up, you can still change if you have the right people around you. Never feel like you should become a product of your environment and continue to strive to be the best version of yourself. Okay, I'll stop. Kaneki asks who's stronger between Touka and Hisoka, so Touka says, nah, I'd win. So Kaneki lets her take a bite out of his body to regain her strength. Hisoka goes in for the attack, but just gets blasted away before Touka pulls out her own Kagune. Touka jumps out the smoke like a Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare, goes for the hit before falling back and landing a barrage of shots. It's cool to know that everyone's Kagune comes with its own set of abilities. Hisoka creates a British Zanpakuto and goes in for the slash. They are going hit for hit, but Touka is on straight demon timing, drags her Kagune like she's Sasuke wielding the Chidori before smacking this man with a mean down heavy. But this guy just gets up and starts saying it's finally getting interesting. Anime characters will get boomed like this and then talk about some that was pretty decent, man. What do you mean decent? You just got Batista bumped. He goes for Nishiki's girl to try and get a top up, but he grabs him, holding him back long enough for Touka to turn him into future Gohan. Their day is saved, but Touka is still on that King Von timing because she wants to kill Nishiki's girlfriend because she saw their faces and could report them. And it's honestly fair enough. This is gonna be extremely niche, but who remembers that one episode in Avatar The Last Airbender when Korra convinced the Earthbender kid to help the old guy, and then the old guy just went to the Fire Nation and snitched on him anyways? Yeah, ever since then I've had trust issues. I'm with Touka. She ends up not going through with it because Migi calls her pretty, which made her realize that she isn't racist like all the other humans. We go back to Untaku where we found some more lore about Hidemi and Ryoko. Their father got involved with some dangerous people, one of them being Jason, who's an S-rated ghoul and an absolute psychopath. This might be the real Jason. Turns out Hidemi's father was working with the humans to try and get Jason packed up, so when bro found out, he clapped him. But Hidemi and Ryoko still don't know that. We cut over to Jason and he's face to face with the white Uncle Ruckus investigator who's been non-stop killing ghouls and this other guy named Amon. They both wield these things called quinkes that are made by using dead ghouls' body parts and turning them into weapons that are basically like handheld Kagune. And I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty tough. They start double teaming him and he's just sidestepping and weaving everything with his hands in his pockets. Look at the way he stepped back, he thinks he's Sung Jin Woo. And then he spawns in behind him, hitting him with a dirty right hook. He must have knockback 3 on his fist. The whitehead guy tried to run the ones, but he's just getting weaved and parried before baiting Jason to go in for the hit, but Jason pulls out his own Kagune and breaks it, and all that just to dip out anyways. And you don't understand how I truly wish that he had killed both of them right there and then, because they end up fighting Hidemi's father, brutally killing him, then turning him into a quinke and using it as bait to lure Hidemi and her mother towards them. This is sick work. Mado, I might just add you to the list of Shaitan's greatest soldiers. This is pure evil. After getting tricked to come here, Ryoko pulls out her own Kagune to try and hold off Mado so her daughter can run away. Hidemi ends up finding Kaneki, but this might be the worst person she could have run into. He has no badges, no Zenkai boost, no aura. They make it back to Hidemi's mother, but this man Mado did her so bad all Kaneki could do was cover Hidemi's eyes. But when I started thinking about it on a deeper level, I'm not even sure if you can really blame Mado. This is that two sides of the same coin concept anime loves to use, because on one hand we have the ghouls that are just like the humans and are just trying to do what they can to survive. Yes, some of them are evil like Jason and Rize, but same can be said for the humans. Like there are murderers and EDPs walking amongst our civilization too, and if you look at it from a third person perspective, the ghouls are to the humans what the humans are to the animals. I bet if you ask a cow what they think about humans, they're gonna say we are the most evil people of all time. The humans in this show are just unhappy that that they are no longer the top of the food chain. So I guess when it comes down to it, it's up to your own sense of morality to decide who is right or wrong. Now when it comes to me personally, I'm starting with the ghouls. Mado K, I hope you get packed. You remind me of Seryu from Akame Ga Kill. Kaneki breaks the news to the rest of Anteiku that Ryoko has been eliminated, and everyone in Anteiku is trying to stay calm and assess the situation. But Touka is 10 toes, ready to get back on side like King Von, and that's exactly what she does. She goes to spin back. She puts on her mask and hits my man with the Sukuna slash before eliminating this guy too. Luckily for him, Amon was there, but without his Quinke, he's just another gym bro. Touka Naruto runs in, goes for the head kick followed by the leg sweep into the Orewada Strikada football kick to the cranium. She jumps into the air and starts spamming like them Iron Man mains on Marvel Rivals before going in with the knee and walking him down. But luckily for Amon, the white Uncle Rocker steps in and calls the ISO. Touka manages to dodge whilst wearing them Lely Kelly shoes and stands at the top of the pole like Itachi before going in with the close combat. But this man Mado is damn near Sonic Sway and going toe to toe with the ghouls. This is insane. He can't be a regular human. He trips up Touka and ends up cutting it in the arm, forcing her to run away. Even though I hate him, why are old men in anime always so tough? But hey, you know what the word on the street is. You miss once, you spin again. This time Kaneki decides to tag along, activating the team up ability. Hinamine is left Anteiku because she could smell her parents, but turns out it was yet another trap. Touka goes to run it back with Mado, so Kaneki is tasked with holding off Amon, and he'd actually look tough if he wasn't wearing some turquoise green hoodie. Someone get this man a Nike Tech fleece. Kaneki goes in and he's basically getting nailed broed. Amon pulls out the Quinke and sends bro off the stage with one swing. Kaneki and Amon are basically just having a presidential debate arguing who's right and who's wrong between humans and ghouls. But you know what? Forget all the real issues. I say we just ban TikTok instead. They are trying to set up Kaneki and Amon to have some kind of shonen Kakashi, Obito, Vegeta, Goku type rivalry, but I'm not seeing the vision right now. Kaneki is using the Forfin method to try and get through to Amon, talking about some I have no enemies, but unlike Forfin, he wasn't gonna see it all the way through, because if all else fails, we'll just revert to violence. He calls on Rize the same way Yuji calls on Sukuna, bites Amon on the arm, pulls out his Kagune, and they get to squabbling. They continue to go hit for hit, bar for bar, meat to meat, until Kaneki manages to break Amon's Quinke, and he is holding Rize back, got him out here looking like Asta, straight tweaking. We got over to Touka and she gets pulled up on by Mado, and this guy is beefing with a child. This man is 46 and his ops is 8. Stop it. Get some help. He's talking to her like this is a COD lobby. It's not that deep.
You ain't never gonna be shit. Your mama ain't never, your mama wasn't shit. Your daddy wasn't shit. You think you gonna be some shit?
She quite literally has done nothing to you. You killed her mother. You turned her dad into a whip. And you are baiting her with her mother's remains. Ghoul lives matter. You are really the embodiment of Uncle Ruckus. He's racist to black people and you're racist to ghouls. Touka squares up ready to spin back, but Mado got all badges maxed out. Zenkai boost to the brim. He's dodging all the hits, forcing Touka on the back foot, but she managed to immobilize him, finally landing a clean hit. And just as he's about to lose, this sick scallywag pulls out another Quinke and it's Hinami's mother. Touka becomes enraged and leaps in, but she just gets knocked down and grabbed up by the tentacle monster before getting turned into another member of the Donut Clan. Mado could have easily killed Touka, but this guy is really in it for the love of the game and grabs Hinami and tries to kill her in front of Touka, but when it seemed like it was over, Hinami awakens her Kagune and snatches Mado's hand. Absolute cinema. She locks in and starts soloing Mado, cutting off his legs, sending him flying, allowing Touka to finish him off. And all I gotta say is, up back in the air is guess what? He's still be alive right now if you niggas ain't gas him up. We smoking on that Mado pack, baby. They tried their absolute hardest to make me feel like an ounce of remorse for the sociopath, but I did not care. If I was Touka, I would have pulled up to his funeral just to make sure he was really dead. They go back to Anteiku as some time passes, slowly bringing back peace to the coffee shop.
I gave you one job and you blew it, you dumbass.
Forget I said anything. This is Tokyo Ghoul. There is no such thing as peace in this show. Let's go back, shall we? Turns out this gang called Aogiri has been waging war on the Doves as they are planning to take over Japan, and this other guy who's in love with Rize or something wants to find her and says that he can smell Rize on Kaneki, so he starts swinging for him before Kaneki knocks bro out with the John Fury headbutt. And that brings us back to this Aura farmer, because literally no one is watching, but he still decided to jump off the building like this. He breaks through the glass and kicks this guy. Turns out he's their boss and he's also Touka's little brother, and then to make it worse, this Jason brother comes through the door looking looking like Shaquille O'Neal, followed by Bon Clay. He ends up taking a liking to Kaneki because he smells like Rize and says she's gonna kidnap him before backhanding Touka and command grabbing Kaneki. This scene always cracked me up. It reminds me of the time Spectacular Spider-Man got sunned by the tombstone. Touka gets dropped by her brother and Jason starts violently beating on Kaneki to the point that even the people in the show feel like that he's doing too much. Gramps and Yomo came back from their scouting mission just to realize that Kaneki has been snatched and Touka is on 12 HP and the coffee shop has been left in ruins, so he begins assembling a strike team for a Kaneki retrieval mission, and of course they call upon the Zesty Man himself for support. We cut back to the CCG, and after Mado's death they recruit this femboy, and when I first watched this show and you told me with a gun to the back of my head to say if she's male or female, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. I was hella confused for some reason. Either way, my aura scouter was telling me that this guy was going to be a problem. The Doves have decided to go and get their get back against Aogiri Tree, so both Aogiri, the Doves, and the guys at Anteku are preparing for war. Fast forward and Anteku has moved in to try and rescue Kaneki, and the Doves and Aogiri are starting a literal war. And Aogiri isn't even really using their Kagenes like that. They pulled out the ARs like it's Fortnite, hang, and they are low-key beating the trained soldiers. That's when this femboy equips his motorbike, jumps into enemy territory with nothing but a knife and an Uzi, and proceeds to clear the entire first floor on his own. I ain't gonna lie, that was tough. The Doves start making good progress into Aogiri's main base, allowing Anteku to sneak in too. And is that a machine gun Quinke? They really put a switch on a Quinke and are using it to blast the opposition. I swear anything is possible with these things. We cut over to Kaneki, who's been trapped in Jason's torture chamber, where he's experiencing torture on a level that I can't even begin to fathom. Allow me to list some of them. He first cut off his toes and fingers and forced him to eat them so they would regrow. He injected him with some secret P. Diddy baby oil. He then put a live Chinese red-headed centipede into his ear so it could like run around in his brain, and whilst he was doing all of this, he continued to ask him the iconic question of what's 1000 minus 7. Now if you're confused as to why he asked him to count down like this, it's to make sure that his brain stays mentally aware enough to feel every molecule of pain. And when I first watched this, I thought he was in there for like half a day, which would still be crazy by the way, but no, he was in Jahannam for 10 whole days. What the actual hell, bro? My brain chemistry was altered after watching this. I was genuinely uncomfortable. Kaneki gotta be top 3 anime characters who went through the most pain. Name someone else in the comments who had it worse. If this was happening to me, I'd be looking for a hospital lamp thinking I was stuck in some kind of crazy nightmare. They tried to give us Jason's backstory saying he went through similar things and that's why he's doing what he's doing now, and then blah 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 blah. Tell this bum to go watch Vinland Saga or something. This is not a valid response. Kaneki being tortured so much, it forced him to face his internal struggles whilst being antagonized by Rize. She's claimed that he's in this situation because of his own fault and that his tendency he was taught by his mother of being the one to suffer over someone else having to suffer is flawed. She tells him that he shouldn't light everyone else's candle without realizing he's burning out, and that the inability to take action is indeed taking action. And as the episode nears its end, we get this beautiful sequence of Kaneki finally letting out his true emotions that he's been holding in for more than a decade. And you know, it's truly beautiful how they have chosen to portray the clash of ideals between Kaneki the people pleaser and Rize the self-sufficient one. Sometimes to protect one thing, you have to have the resolve to let go of another, and once you are able to accept that reality without pondering on whether you made the right choice whilst always staying true to yourself, that's when you'll reach a true state of inner peace. Alright, I'll stop. I could probably do an entire video just talking about the philosophy and the true meaning behind this scene in Tokyo Ghoul. I truly think it's amazingly written, and I honestly can't do it justice by just describing it. Kaneki has his Mahito Yuji moment and accepts Rize as his hair turns completely white from the stress he induced over the last 2 days. He devours Rize like a true egoist and breaks free from his shackles. We spin back to reality and Jason tries to eat him, but Kaneki escapes and starts choking him and takes a bite out of bro and kicks him so hard he turns into a Beyblade. Kaneki's black nails are looking fabulous, and he even started copying Jason's finger cracking habit. And I won't lie, 15-year-old me was cracking my fingers like this for the next 2 weeks after seeing this fight. And Jason starts geeking out before hawking Kaneki down on all fours, but he is hitting nothing but air. Kaneki is ducking and weaving before hitting Jason with a Hajime no Ippo uppercut before he gets sent flying at Mach 10 speed. Jason is breathing heavy like Zion Williams after running 3 suicides, but Kaneki just walks out like nothing happened, pulls out his Kagune while smiling, and continues to clash with Jason. He's going hit for hit before finally breaking his Kagune and hitting him with the nastiest down heavy in history. And to finish it off, he stabs him in the back and asks him the iconic question, what's 1000 minus 7? and this big behemoth literally begins crying from his own torture. Bro really went outside. Kaneki, a better man than me. I would have posted this one on the gram talking about some just gave Jason his 13th reason why, hashtag Friday the 13th. Hey, I just wanted to say, if you made it this far, you should definitely subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. And it's free, you know, it's free, it doesn't cost anything. I'm almost at 100k subscribers, so if you want to be one of them OGs that was here before they went 100k, you should definitely subscribe. Let's get back to the video. We spin back to the dolls, and they are about to square off with the owl, who's the leader of Aogiri. They equip their Quinkes, and they are wearing armor made out of ghouls like it's a Monclesi body warmer. They charge in and eat all the hits before landing double slashes on the owl. This is really how me and my Mimic Team were moving on Elden Ring. The owl regens and locks in, sending them flying like a sack of basmati rice. They unlock some type of demon mode with their Quinkes, and they start boxing like and this is like watching a Fate Stay night fight. However, this temporary stat boost comes at a price because the Quinkes end up eating them alive. The owl spares them for whatever reason and even saves their lives when the building starts collapsing. We spin over to Touka and her brother, and she's getting mixed all the way up. I know for a fact he plays Brawlhalla, Smash Bros and Sparking Zero the way he was extending his combos. He lands on top of her and begins eating his sister. I mean, to each their own, I guess. But just as he's about to finish her off, my white-haired aura farming goat steps in and saves her. Like, who's he feeling like? This man is out here hitting with the same nonsense Piccolo was doing to Cell after fusing with Kami. They end up in a fist struggle, but everyone has their quick time events on lock. Touka's brother tries to spam his glass shards, but Kaneki dodges all of them and then pops up in front of the screen like that guy on TikTok who solos Elden Ring bosses before gut checking him and basically sunning bro. But before the squabble can commence, he gets taken away by one of Aogiri's members. Kaneki takes Touka to a safe space, and he's really in his Sasuke background now, basically telling her he's gotta leave the village and join Aogiri so he can become stronger. Kaneki really said, damn, I'm too weak, I'm going to Orochimaru. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of unexplained random nonsense starts happening in the show, so I'm just gonna speedrun it so we can get to the good parts. Everyone in Anteku goes back to normal. Touka decides to go to college. Mado's daughter joins the CCG and teams up with Amon, and they end up getting busy. Hide is still looking for Kaneki. Kaneki and Aogiri go on a bunch of side missions. They end up freeing this guy who used to work for Jason, and he kinda reminds me of Mello from Death Note. And fast forward to right now, where Kaneki and Aogiri are here on another mission to free a S-rated ghoul. They start dropping from the sky like it's a Fortnite lobby, and every time I see this girl with bandages, my aura scouter goes off. Based off the build, you'd really think Aogiri is really being ran by Megumin. We spin over to the femboy, and who decided it was a good idea to give this demon a scythe? This trait is exclusively reserved for small anime girls with overly large weapons. The one-eyed twins we saw earlier run into Juzo, and turns out they actually went to the same school when they were younger, and to keep a long story short, this man has been a psychopath since day one. People will be like, there were no signs, and then see their child squishing ants like this. They start full court pressing him, and they manage to land a combo attack just for this guy to turn into Jack the Ripper and start impaling these guys like Killer B. He's 2v1ing two higher tier ghouls without his Quinke, I gotta respect it. After turning one of the twins into Sasuke, she picks up her scythe and lands a critical hit on bro, all while having a smile on his face. They end up retreating and living to fight another day. Whilst that was going on, Ayate finds out what happens to his father. Yeah, they turn this man into a Nike Tech fleece. Imagine fighting your ops and they step outside wearing your own father as armor, and then when you two squabble, you lose. That's gonna be rough, buddy. He looks ready to give up on the world. I wonder if Touka ever finds out about this. Kaneki makes contact with S-rated ghoul Sachi, and I can tell this guy is going to be a problem when he was using chakra control like Prime Gara. He body checks Kaneki because he says he smells like Rize. How many enemies does Rize even have, bruh? She made ops with everyone and everything. She might be King Von. Sachi begins Naruto running before landing a two-piece combo on Kaneki. Kaneki blocks it and heals up before going in with his Kagune. This man dodges it and pulls some Baki type nonsense. You have no song where you need to be doing all that. He manages to land a hit, but this guy locks in before hitting him with the nastiest sendo uppercut I have ever seen, contorted his entire stomach. Kaneki is left scrambling before he gets hit with a leaf hurricane followed by a gum gatling. I don't know how to explain it, but this guy reminds me of an earthbender in Avatar The Last Airbender. Now I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't know if they butchered this scene or if I'm missing some type of context, but this entire season is so damn confusing because Kaneki goes into some Yuji and Sukuna type in the domain saying that he is weak, and then the next scene he has like a new mask, a new Kagane, and he's now just fighting a whole other person. Like, what happened to Sachi and how did he get this new form? I mean, I'll go with the flow, I guess. It seems like Kaneki has gone insane and he now has a new centipede Kagane. He's going hit for hit with one of the doves, and I have been trying to ignore it, but this has gone on long enough. What is this haircut, bro? We need the hood's greatest minds to come together and try and get you right. Someone call Scissor 7. They continue to clash and Kaneki is kinda dogging him right now. He's jumping all over the place like Gran Torino before he gets caught lacking and basically gets one-tapped. Kaneki is out here talking like Gojo after losing to Toji before he speed blitzes this guy and begins eating his Monclisi. Amon runs into Kaneki and they are trying their hardest to set up that Naruto and Sasuke dynamic. He tries talking to him, but when he realizes Kaneki has gone insane, he starts piecing him up before the owl comes through, sweeps him up, and they disappear again. When I first watched this, I kinda thought people were over exaggerating with season 2, but during the rewatch it's clear that they have left out a bunch of relevant context. Fast forward a couple days and Kaneki is going through it right now. This reminds me of when Yusuke took Genkai's power in that cave and he started tweaking out. I'm guessing he's kind of being haunted by Rize and Jason, like how Thorfinn was feeling in season 2 of Vinland Saga. We meet the green-haired writer from earlier and I'm low-key starting to think she's that owl because she got some weird obsession with Kaneki. She meets up with the doves and basically just gets to snitching and tells her that the Anteku coffee shop is super sus. Kaneki pulls up to Anteku to ask Gramps for help, and that's where we find out that he used to be some like top-rated ghoul and he fell in love with a human woman and they ended up having a baby that turned out to be the one-eyed ghoul we know today. Oh, and Gramps is actually the original owl. We get some more development between Kaneki and Touka, and I really thought this was the end of the violence, but I forgot Touka is a real tsundere. What I will give them credit for is the way they built suspense. This calm before the storm type feeling. We got a lot of relationship and character development, like they even made me care about this random a little bit. Naruhaya really got kicked out of Blue Lock and started hunting ghouls in Tokyo Ghoul. Kaneki is walking through the city when it says on the news that the CCG is gonna raid Anteku. That green-haired girl really snitched for no reason, no Big Mac, no nothing, just for the love of the game. So you already know what time it is. Let the squabble commence. The doves pull up to Anteku, but Kaya and Angie step out fitted from head to toe, so all the devil ape nonsense wasn't just talk after all. Got him out here with the demon mask and the Canada goose. They step in and get to work, soloing an entire platoon at their murder in 2012. They jump up and summon their old gangs, and I won't lie, this is tough. I started getting too hyped. Turns out Angie and Kaya were once the leaders of the Black Dogs and the Devil Apes like 20 years ago, and they were basically like the Bloods and the Crips, straight up sworn enemies. But the old man recruited them to keep them out of trouble. He's basically like that one uncle who'd be giving out jobs to the youth to keep them off the streets. They even the numbers, but that's when Stampede from Dragon pulls up saying he's trying to spin it back. And then Knuckles from Hunter x Hunter says he's gonna run the ones with the Devil Apes. Let the squabble commence. Or if I can even call it that, because the Black Dogs get snuck while trying to protect an old lady and the Devil Ape gets blasted with the Pack-a-Punch 3000. They really just turning Quinkes into anything, because why is bro wielding a damn Zapatron? Luckily the boy savior pulls up right on time, the 20th Ward's crybaby, Ken Eye Patch Kaneki. He smacks bro away before off-screening the other NPCs. We cut back over to Gramps and I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game, because he got the aura farming on lock. He pulls up in the smoke, dripped out of the hooded cape before slowly transforming while spitting nothing but absolute bars.
Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here, or should I say, I am.
Joker tries to go out and help, but I'm gonna be honest, you're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy. Luckily, the writers agreed, because they just have her running a half marathon for the remainder of the episode like she's playing Sonic Frontiers.
Ready? Go!
We cut back to the owl and he's a one-man army, just soloing hundreds of men in actual seconds. I know he feels like LeBron. This guy is like 68 and still dominating everyone in the show. The two investigators with the Montclair puffer jacket starts jumping the owl and they hit him with the hold up, is that the stuff they use to take down the armored titan? They really making anything out of these Quinky? Is that the Rivers of Blood katana? Nah bro, it's only a matter of time before they start making bankais out of these Quinkes, bro. They start pressing Gramps and sending the femboy and he kinda starts cooking. This guy is really going toe to toe with the owl like some certified Elden Ring speedrunner. They are really giving the owl the JJK treatment, no fair ones when you're fighting the CCG. Juzo and Shinohara got 99 chemistry. He grabs him and throws him back in for more chip damage before they hit bro with a maximum pulse, putting in straight work. This is how it feels to be on objective as a vanguard when your whole team is dead. The owl starts getting flashbacks, and I'll be honest, it's time we start looking at the other possibilities. Gramps went out like a G. He's basically Whitebeard, putting in straight work to the dying breath. These guys start celebrating, getting hyped as hell, people dancing and jubilating, but in the background a noise starts playing.
Shit! Fuck me! What the fuck?
And from the top ropes like Radon, the real owl Superman lands in. This is how I felt when I got Malekith down to half health. Just for bro to have a second stage, I was sick to my stomach. What the owl they were fighting before was the owl light, because this right here is the real owl, out here smiling like Maharaga. Look at the actual aura emanating. Even this crash out is perplexed. The owl one taps Shinohara and puts Juzo out of commission instantly, and it seems like it's the first time Juzo felt a true feeling of sadness. I actually felt kinda bad for bro, and I guessed it. Amon and Kaneki are having their big 1v1 final valley Naruto versus Sasuke type nonsense, so you already know what it is. Let the squabble commence. Amon starts applying full court pressure to Kaneki, but Kaneki is parrying most of the hits while still protecting the humans. Amon and Kaneki would have probably been really good friends had they met under different circumstances. Kaneki leaps in and hits Amon with an up air, but he gets up and evolved his weapon into some type of Excalibur, and you already know an anime character is locked in when his eyes go all white. He begins turning Kaneki into Swiss cheese before Kaneki takes the high ground and tries to attack Amon like he's Iron Spider, then turning into a Sekiro player to perfect parry all the hits. They are both taking heavy chip damage, and it seems like they are low-key enjoying themselves. I wish we got a little bit more development and character interactions between these two. Kaneki takes off his mask and asks him for his name before they start charging up their final attacks, and it seems like Kaneki has left victorious. What a manly man Amon is. Kaneki is on 2 HP, and this honestly ain't a bad place to bleed out. We cut back to the Zenkai boosted owl, and that's when Satoru Gojo? My aura scouter is off the charts, it's over 9,000. White hair, tough fit, blank expression on his face. I know he's a demon. Arima, the guy who they've been hyping up like he's Prime Murderer, Prime Roger, Prime All Might, has finally pulled up, and he did not disappoint. He pulls out his Quinky and starts 1v1ing the owl on his own. Steps in for chip damage, pulls out, followed up by a lightning tracking beam before pulling out his second Quinky, and he starts spawning in venom strikes while spamming his lightning blade. The owl cuts in and tries to go for the attack just to get his arm cut off before running away. This guy has to be the Levi Ackerman of Tokyo Ghoul. If he turned up earlier, it would have been raps. Whitehead anime characters got a 99% chance of being tough. Kaneki is bleeding out, but he makes it to Anteku when Hide shows up, and I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about this guy, bro. Turns out he joined the CCG also he could try and find Kaneki, but he ended up getting badly wounded. He also knew Kaneki was a ghoul this whole time, and it's really rough out here. This scene kinda hit, I won't lie. Ken Kaneki, man, born to be a slice of life romance protagonist, but forced to be a pain-enduring shonen MC. Hide ends up dying from bleeding out, and that's when we get this iconic scene of Kaneki holding Hide in the snow whilst walking towards the doves. And the way they did this, with everyone just looking at Kaneki holding one of their own, whilst there are just a bunch of bodies of ghouls and humans alike, is just beautiful. Oh, see here, Teo, yoso, shikumi wo, boku no naka ni, dare kakuri no, karetako, yoko, sukumi wo, kimi kawarani, mi weso meso ni, para 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 para. Alright. I really gotta stop doing that. You guys always flame me in the comments when I sing. And yeah, that's really how they ended the episode. I could cover Ri, but I watched the first couple of episodes and I thought I was watching some damn spin-off when I saw this random ass guy on my screen. Like, hey, I already know this video is going to be super long. I'm working on it during my exam, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. As of recording this, I just hit the big 90k subscribers and it feels surreal. I don't even know how to feel. I've got like this weird imposter syndrome going on. I don't know what's happening, but you know, I'm so grateful, alhamdulillah. Thank you for all the love and support. I hope we can crack 100k soon and win the race. We're still in first place, so yeah, make sure you subscribe. But hey, that's it from me. YouTube thinks you'll like this video on screen, so check it out. Peace. Oh, and follow the Instagram.